When I said I was pregnant, my husband screamed, "You ruined everything. I didn't want this child." Then left for his GF. His mom even demanded I abort. I was broken, but I built a new life. Years later, his perfect life crumbled. He came crawling back and said, "I still love you." When I told my husband I was having a baby, and he freaked out. He yelled, "You messed everything up. I don't want this kid." That very night, he packed his bags and went to stay with his young coworker. His mom and dad took his side, leaving me all by myself. But many years later, he tried to come back to me. Cole and I were married for 4 years. We'd been together for 7. We always said we'd have kids someday, but never really set a date. I was on birth control, but about 3 months back, I got that awful stomach bug. You know, antibiotics can mess with birth control sometimes. When I missed my period, I didn't think much of it at first. My periods are always a bit off, especially when I'm stressed. And work had been super demanding lately. But then I started feeling sick in the mornings and my chest felt weird, so I grabbed a pregnancy test during my lunch break. 2 pink lines. Clear as day. I took 3 more tests over the next 2 days, and they all said positive. I was shocked, scared, but also kinda excited. I knew it wasn't planned. But after the first shock wore off, I started thinking about our future as a family. I always wanted to be a mom, even if the timing wasn't perfect. I figured Cole would get used to the idea after the first shock. I waited a week to tell him. I wanted to find the perfect time. I wasn't going to do anything fancy, none of that Instagram stuff with letter boards and confetti. That's just not us. Instead, I made his favorite dinner, lasagna with garlic bread. I bought his favorite bourbon for him and sparkling cider for me. I even wore the blue dress he always said looked good on me. I wanted it to feel special, even though it wasn't planned. While I cooked, I kept practicing what I'd say. Should I just blurt it out? Make a joke? I decided on something simple. After dinner, I have some news. It's going to change our lives. Cole got home around 7 o'clock, later than usual. He seemed distracted, always checking his phone. That wasn't too weird lately, since he was on a big project with his team. He barely saw the nice dinner, he just mumbled it looked good and poured himself a big glass of bourbon. I didn't even get to mention the special occasion. During dinner, he was quiet. He only gave one-word answers when I tried to talk. I asked about his day, his project, anything to get him talking. But he just shrugged or gave tiny answers. Something felt wrong, but I just put it down to work stress. After we ate, I took a deep breath and grabbed his hand across the table. I remember my exact words, "Cole, I'm pregnant." The quiet that followed felt like an hour. His face showed a bunch of feelings, blank, then pale. Then something I'd never seen before. Anger mixed with panic. When he finally spoke, he asked if I was kidding. I told him I wasn't kidding, that I'd taken 4 tests. Things went downhill fast after that. I'll never forget what he said next. "You ruined everything. I didn't want this kid." I tried to explain it was an accident. The antibiotics probably messed with my birth control. I thought we could work it out, like we always did with other problems. Then he dropped a bombshell, maybe he never wanted kids at all. He said he only agreed to my someday kid talk to keep me happy. For him, it was just a pretend future. I asked if there was someone else. His face told me everything before he even said a word. When I pushed him, he finally said he'd been seeing Poppy for a few months. Poppy? His colleague. The one he said was so smart and brought new ideas to the team. She was 24, 7 years younger than me. While I was still trying to get my head around this double punch, Cole started packing. Not just a small bag, but a whole suitcase of clothes and his stuff. I couldn't believe my eyes. My husband was actually walking out on me the same night I told him I was pregnant. I asked where he was going. He said he was going to Poppy's place, for now. Within 30 minutes of me telling him I was pregnant, Cole was at our front door with his suitcase. He said he'd come back for the rest of his things later. I asked him if he was really doing this. Just walking out on his pregnant wife. His answer, "I can't be a father. I'm not ready." I told him no one is ever fully ready for being a parent. But that's just how life goes. He just mumbled "I'm sorry" and said he'd call in a couple of days. Then he was gone, just like that. I sat in our apartment, which felt too quiet all of a sudden. I tried to figure out what had just happened. One minute I was telling him I was pregnant, and the next, my husband was gone. He was off to his younger girlfriend's place, leaving me and our baby behind. I called my best friend, Daisy. I was crying so hard she could barely understand me. She came over right away. She held me while I cried and wondered about my whole marriage. I thought I knew him, I kept saying. How could I have been so wrong? The next morning, I woke up on the couch. Daisy was asleep in the armchair next to me. For a second, I hoped it was all just a bad dream, but then I felt sick again, reminding me that Cole was gone, and I was still very much pregnant. Daisy made me toast and tea. She made sure I ate something for the baby. I put my hand on my stomach. Whatever Cole chose, this was still my kid. I tried calling Cole all day, but his phone just went to voicemail. My texts, asking him not to cut me off, got no reply. By afternoon, I felt stronger. Anger started to kick in instead of just shock. I called my doctor to set up my first baby appointment. I was going to do this, with or without him. That evening, Cole's mom, Hazel, called me. The talk was short, but it really opened my eyes. She said Cole had told them everything. She suggested I give him time because he was still too young for a family. I told her he was 31, but she just brushed it off. She said he was focused on his job. Then came the real shocker. She hinted I should consider options, clearly meaning she wanted me to end the pregnancy, without saying it directly. I firmly told her I was keeping this baby, her grandchild. No matter what Cole decided. The call ended with me shaking. I was so mad. I finally understood where some of Cole's bad attitudes came from. His parents always babied him, acting like he could do no wrong. The next few days were a blur. I went to work, trying to act normal even though my whole world felt like it had blown up. I called a lawyer to see what my choices were. I started looking into being a single mom and how much childcare costs. I looked at my money, figuring out how I could make it work on my own if I had to. Cole finally texted me 3 days after he left. He didn't ask how I was or say sorry. He just said he was staying at Poppy's and would send money for bills. I texted back that we needed to talk face to face. His reply was that he needed space and wasn't ready to talk yet. 1 week went by, then another. Cole showed up at the apartment once, when I wasn't there, to grab more of his stuff. He left our keys on the counter. With him was a note. It said he'd paid the rent for next month. He'd also talked to a lawyer about divorce. Divorce. Just like that, it was over. My first appointment for the baby was all by myself. The person doing the ultrasound showed me the baby. I heard the heartbeat for the first time. It was a fast, rhythmic whoosh, whoosh sound. I started crying hard. The technician probably thought I was crying happy tears. But they were sad tears. Sad for the family I thought we'd have. The baby was growing perfectly. They gave me a small picture of the ultrasound. It was just a blurry, bean shape. But it was already my kid. I put the picture on the fridge when I got home. It reminded me that no matter what with Cole, this little person needed me. 3 weeks after Cole ditched me, his dad, Declan, gave me a call. Unlike Cole's mom, Hazel, who was cold as ice, Declan actually asked how I was holding up. I told him straight up that I wasn't doing well. I'd been left for a younger woman. I also brought up that his wife hinted I should get an abortion. He tried to make it all sound better. He said Hazel didn't mean it that way. He said they were just worried about Cole's job and getting promoted. He called my pregnancy bad timing. He said Cole just wasn't ready to be a dad right now. I told Declan I hadn't planned on being a single mom either. But grown-ups deal with stuff that just happens. He offered to help with money. But he made it super clear Cole needed to focus on his career, and that he and Poppy had a thing going on. After that call, something hit me. I was completely on my own here. Cole picked Poppy. His folks picked him. It was just me and my baby. Period. But oddly, knowing that made things clearer. I didn't have to wonder anymore. No more hoping Cole would show up. I could finally start planning my life, our life. Without all that what if hanging over me. I called Daisy that night and told her, I gotta move. Too many memories were stuck in our apartment. She instantly said I could crash at her place until I found my own spot. I looked around the apartment we used to share. And I felt something I didn't expect, a small spark of hope, not hope for getting back together. That bridge was totally gone, burned to ashes. But hope for the future. My future. My baby's future. I knew whatever came next would be tough. I wasn't fooling myself. Being a single mom, getting divorced, starting over from zero. None of that would be a walk in the park. But one thing I was sure about, my kid would always be wanted. Always by me. And maybe that was all that mattered. Tomorrow, I'm meeting with my lawyer again. We're starting the divorce papers. Cole thinks he can just cut and run. We'll see about that, won't we? I might be down in the dumps right now. But I'm not out for the count. Not by a long shot. First update. Man, I can't believe it's been a whole year since I last posted. First off, a huge thank you to everyone who sent advice and support. I read every single message, even if I couldn't write back to all of you. Your words meant the world to me during those really dark times. So much has gone down, and honestly, saying so much has happened feels like a major understatement. I've got a son now. A real, tiny human who needs me for everything. His name is Sage, and he's 8 months old. Even with all the craziness, he's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Just yesterday, something hit me hard while I was folding his impossibly small socks. Cole has never even met him, not once. Not when he was born, not for his first smile, not for his first Christmas. Never. My son's own dad lives less than 30 minutes away, and he's a total stranger to his kid. It's wild. So, I guess I should pick up where I left off. The divorce officially went through when I was 7 months pregnant. Cole didn't fight anything, which my lawyer said was unusual, but it made everything go way faster. The judge ordered some decent child support based on Cole's pay. It's something, at least, though it's been pretty spotty. More on that later. I moved out of our old apartment and found a smaller, 2-bedroom place closer to Daisy. The rent is a bit steep for me, but it's in a good school zone. I've learned you start thinking about that stuff way earlier than you'd expect. My dining room is basically half baby nursery now, with a pack and play, a bouncer, and what feels like a mini toy store exploded everywhere. Marie Kondo would have a heart attack just looking at it. Sage came into the world on a Tuesday night. It was 19 hours of labor, a real marathon. Daisy was right there with me, my birthing partner. She held my hand and kept giving me ice chips, even when I swore I couldn't push anymore. The nurses kept asking about the father, and I just got tired of explaining. So, I started saying, he's not in the picture. It felt true, but also like a huge understatement. Those first few weeks were a blur. So much sleeplessness, and, nipple pain. Sorry. Too much information. I kept wondering if I was even doing anything right. The night we came home, Sage wouldn't stop crying. I remember sitting on my bathroom floor at 3 in the morning, also crying. Googling why won't babies sleep on my phone while he wailed in my arms. I'd never felt so alone or so overwhelmed, but we made it. Day by day, Sage and I figured things out together. I learned that his hungry cry sounds different from his tired cry, which sounds different from his, I just want to be held cry. I found out he loves it when I sing to him, even though I can't hold a tune to save my life. Bit by bit, his personality started shining through. He's observant, stubborn, wonder where he gets that from? And his laugh? It can light up the whole room. Work has been a juggling act. I had to go back when Sage was 10 weeks old because I just needed the money. My boss, Vivian, has been surprisingly cool about it, letting me work from home 2 days a week. But finding childcare nearly broke me, both my bank account and my spirit. Daycare costs more than my rent, which seems totally crazy, but that's the reality for so many of us. I managed to find a spot that doesn't mean taking out a second mortgage. But it's still a huge chunk of my monthly budget. The money side of things has definitely been one of the toughest parts. Child support from Cole comes sometimes, but there's always an excuse when it's late. His car needed fixing. He had some unexpected bills. He's changing jobs. Last month, it was 2 weeks late because he and Poppy were gallivanting in Spain. I saw the pictures on Instagram before he even bothered to answer my texts about the missing payment. Speaking of social media, I made the mistake of looking at his profiles a few months after Sage was born. There they were, Cole and Poppy, looking all sun-kissed and fancy at some rooftop bar. No signs of sleepless nights or spit-up stains in their perfect little world. I blocked them both after that. Daisy says it's way better for my mental health, and she's not wrong. Daisy has been my absolute rock through all of this. She shows up with takeout when I'm too tired to cook. She holds Sage so I can actually take a shower. And she never, ever complains when all I can talk about is baby poop or why he won't sleep. She even threw me a small baby shower when I was 8 months pregnant, after all of Cole's friends totally ghosted me. Funny how quickly people choose sides. Cole's parents have been interesting. After they first supported their son ditching his pregnant wife, they had a change of heart once Sage was actually born. I got a text from Hazel, Cole's mom, about a month after he arrived, asking to see their grandson. I didn't reply right away. I needed to figure out how I felt about it. Then came flowers, baby clothes, even a handwritten letter about how much they wanted to be a part of his life. I finally agreed to a quick visit when Sage was 4 months old. It was awkward, to say the least. Hazel kept going on about how much he looked like Cole as a baby, while Declan snapped about 50 pictures on his phone. They brought expensive baby gifts and started talking about a college fund. But not once did they mention Cole's absence or say sorry for how they acted before. When they asked to take him for an overnight stay, I had to put my foot down. No way was I letting my baby go anywhere without me. Especially with people who had pretty much suggested I end my pregnancy a year earlier. That conversation did not go well. Hazel then accused me of using Sage to punish Cole. Which was pretty rich, considering Cole hadn't shown any interest in meeting his own son. That's the part that still messes with my head. How can you know you have a kid and just not care? Not wonder what they look like? How they're growing. If they're happy. Cole has sent money sometimes, but he's never once asked for a photo, a video, or even a visit. It's like Sage is just a word to him. Not a real little person with his own eyes and a cute dimple on his chin. I've really tried to be the mature one. When Sage was born, I just sent a simple text with his birth details and a photo. No reply. I even set up a shared photo album online. I put pictures there every now and then, just in case Cole ever wanted to see what he was missing. As far as I can tell, he's never even opened it. For Sage's first Christmas, I sent a holiday card with his picture to Cole's address. The envelope came back, marked return to sender. But life keeps going. Sage started daycare. He caught every single bug in his first month there, another fun parenthood surprise nobody tells you about. But now he's got a super strong immune system. He's crawling now, pulling himself up on furniture, and putting everything in his mouth. My apartment is totally baby-proofed. I haven't seen my coffee table without those corner protectors for so long. I forget what it even looks like. My day-to-day life is a carefully planned dance. I wake up at 5:30 in the morning before Sage to shower and get dressed. I get him up, fed, and dressed by 7:15. Daycare drop-off by 8 o'clock. Work until 5 o'clock. Then I rush to pick him up by 5:30. Sometimes I pay a late fee if meetings run over. Home by 6 o'clock for dinner, bath, stories, and then bedtime. After that, I get a few precious hours to clean, do laundry, pay bills, and maybe watch half an episode of something on Netflix before I crash on the couch. Then, rinse and repeat. The toughest moments are the ones nobody really talks about. Like when Sage had his first fever at 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to decide by myself whether to take him to the emergency room, or when he says mama, but there's no data in his words because that person just isn't in his world. Or when I fill out those daycare forms that ask for father's information and I have to write not applicable while all the other parents fill out both spots. But there are also really beautiful times. Morning snuggles when he wakes up happy and babbling. The way he reaches for me when I pick him up from daycare. How amazed he is by the ceiling fan. The pure joy he has splashing in the bath. The feeling of him falling asleep on my chest, his warm breath on my neck. I'm not going to pretend it's a breeze. Being a single parent is the hardest thing I've ever done. Some days I'm so tired, I put the milk in the cupboard and the cereal in the fridge. Some days I snap at customer service people over nothing because I'm just running on empty. Some days I cry in the shower because it's the only place Sage can't hear me. But I'm doing it. We're doing it. And weirdly enough, I'm really proud of that. Sage's first birthday is coming up next month. Daisy is helping me plan a small party, nothing over the top. Just a few friends, some cake, and probably more decorations than we need because Daisy goes a bit wild with Pinterest. I thought about inviting Cole's parents but decided against it after our last talk. They still text now and then, asking to see him, but it's always on their terms. They never acknowledge that their son abandoned his child. As for Cole himself, I'm not holding my breath for a birthday card, let alone for him to actually show up. Last I heard from mutual friends, he and Poppy moved in together and got a dog. I guess that's the level of responsibility he's comfortable with. The big shocker happened last week. I finally got approved for a decent apartment in a slightly better neighborhood. It's nothing super fancy, but it has a small yard where Sage can play, and the schools are good. As I was signing the lease, my phone vibrated with a text. It was from Hazel, saying they were having a family reunion next month and wanted to include their grandson. The text had a photo of Cole and Poppy, arms around each other, looking perfectly happy. I stared at that picture for a long time. There was Cole, smiling, living his life like his son didn't exist. Something shifted in me right then. Not anger exactly, though there's still plenty of that, but more like a clear understanding. I'd spent a year hoping Cole would step up, show even a tiny bit of interest in his kid. A year sending updates into a black hole. A year trying to be fair and reasonable despite everything. I texted Hazel back, Sage won't be coming. If Cole wants to meet his son, he knows how to find me. But I'm done making excuses for him or pretending he's anything other than someone who chose to be absent. Then I blocked her number too. Maybe that sounds harsh, but I'm done protecting Cole's image or his feelings. I'm done carrying all the emotional weight while he gets to live without any consequences. I'm done pretending for Sage's sake that his father might suddenly care. The truth is, we're better off without someone who could just walk away so easily. Sage deserves people in his life who choose him, who show up for him, who love him no matter what. I can't force Cole to be that person. So, here we are, a year later. A single mom and her son, facing the world. It's not the life I planned, not even close. But looking at Sage's sleeping face tonight, I realized something important. Sometimes the family you end up with isn't the one you thought you'd have. But it's still perfect in its own way. I don't know what the future holds. The divorce agreement had a part about checking custody again if Cole ever wanted to be involved. Honestly, it seemed like a joke at the time, but my lawyer said it was standard. A part of me hopes he stays gone forever. Another tiny part still can't believe he doesn't want to know his amazing son. For now, I'm just focusing on what I can control, building a steady home, making happy memories, being both mom and dad as best as I can. And maybe, just maybe, finding a way to trust someone again someday. But that's a problem for future Pearl. Present Pearl needs to finish the laundry and hit the hay. Sage will be up at 6 o'clock in the morning, ready or not. So, that's my update: 1 year, one perfect baby boy, and taking it one day at a time. Second update. 4 years. Can you believe it? Since I last wrote on here, honestly, I didn't think I'd ever post again, but something happened yesterday that stuck in my head, and I just had to get it out. Sage just hit 5 last month. 5. It's wild to think my tiny baby is now this talkative kindergartner, rattling off all the planets and even correcting how I say dinosaur names. Time just flies. For real. Yesterday was Sage's very first day of kindergarten. I took the morning off from work to walk him in, figuring it'd be the usual crazy drop-off scene. What I didn't expect was to spot Cole's buddy, Felix, in the school parking lot. He was dropping off his own daughter. I froze up for a second, but Sage was pulling on my hand, super excited to see his classroom, so I just pushed through. After I got Sage all settled in, I had a few sniffles. Not him, bless his heart. I was heading back to my ride when Felix came over. I got ready for things to be weird, but he just asked how I was doing instead. We ended up grabbing coffee at the spot across from the school, and that's when he hit me with it. Cole and Poppy split up 6 months ago. Turns out, she wanted kids, and he was still saying he wasn't ready, at 35 years old. After leading her on for years, she finally gave him an it's now or never moment, and he picked, well, not her. Cole's company downsized last year, and he's been having a tough time finding a steady gig. Felix said he's been couch surfing at friends' places while Poppy still has the apartment they shared. That perfect life he bailed on us for? It's totally gone to pot. I just sat there, stirring my coffee, not really knowing what to feel. There wasn't any serves him right feeling, not like I thought I'd have years ago. Just this weird empty feeling, like when you hear about a character from a show you stopped watching ages ago. What really got me was seeing how totally different my life is now, compared to when Cole took off. After all those years of balancing being a single mom and working, things have finally settled down. I've been at my company for 6 years straight, and last year, Vivian gave me a big promotion to senior project manager. That pay raise meant I could finally buy a small townhouse. It's in a good school zone, too. It's nothing super fancy, but it's ours. Sage has got his handprints on his bedroom wall, and we've got a little garden where our tomatoes never quite grow right. Getting our money stuff straight was a tough climb. I spent so many nights with spreadsheets, figuring out every single bill. Cole's child support totally dried up around Sage's 3rd birthday. After he kept missing payments, I went to the child support office. But Cole had jumped jobs so many times, it was like trying to catch smoke. In the end, I just decided fighting him for it wasn't worth the headache. I'd rather Sage see me chill and there for him, instead of stressed and mad about money we could live without. The question I'd been dreading finally popped up about a year ago. Why don't I have a daddy? Sage asked. We were just grocery shopping, and it came out of nowhere. I'd prepped for that moment, read all the articles on how to explain it for his age, but nothing gets you ready for looking into those innocent little eyes. I gave him a simple version of the truth, that his daddy wasn't ready to be a parent. I told him that didn't mean anything was wrong with Sage, that sometimes adults make choices that hurt people, but I wanted him and loved him enough for 2 parents. Those talks never get easier. Man, every time Sage spots another kid with their dad at the park, or sees a father-son thing at school, my heart just aches a little. But we've made our own special things. Daisy's still his favorite auntie. She comes over for movie nights and teaches him card tricks. My folks drive up every month to spend weekends with their grandkid. We've got our crew, even without Cole around. Then, maybe 10 months back, something kinda unexpected happened at a parent-teacher night at Sage's preschool. I kept noticing this one dad. He had kind eyes and was rocking a terrible dad joke t-shirt that said, "I'm not arguing, I'm just explaining why I'm right." His daughter, Cleo, was in Sage's class, and they'd become fast friends. I heard him handle her tantrum over leaving the classroom toys. He was gentle but firm, and his patience really got my attention. Maeve, Cleo's dad, a widower. He makes homemade pizza on Fridays with dinosaur pepperoni. He remembers Teacher Appreciation Week without anyone reminding him. And he doesn't mind when my son goes on and on about space. It started with the kids having playdates. They were already buddies, so it just made sense. Then it was coffee while the kids played. Then texts about school stuff we'd both forgotten. Then dinner one night when Cleo and Sage's soccer practice ran late. And after that, more dinners, more texts, more talks that went on late into the night after the kids were snoozing. Maeve never pushed things. He got the whole package deal thing. Me and Sage, always a duo. He'd ask really thoughtful questions about what Sage was into. He even brought him books about stars after hearing about his space obsession. The first time he fixed Sage's wobbly bike seat without me even asking, I almost teared up at how simply kind it was. About 6 months in, Maeve opened up. He told me how he lost Cleo's mom to cancer when Cleo was just a year old. How he was scared stiff about raising a daughter by himself. How he kept her mom's photos all over the place so Cleo would always know her. The raw, honest way he talked about his sadness and his love. It made me trust him in a way I hadn't trusted anyone in years. We've been officially a couple for 7 months now. The kids know we're special friends, and they seem genuinely happy about our combined playdates. Last month, Maeve and I had the talk about where things were headed. Nothing dramatic. Just chilling on my back porch after the kids were asleep, talking real about what we hoped for and what scared us. He wants to take the next steps together. And so do I. We're not rushing, but for the first time in 5 years, I'm actually letting myself imagine a future with someone again. Meanwhile, Cole's parents suddenly got all interested in Sage again. After years of just random texts and the odd birthday gift card, Hazel called last month, asking if they could take him for a weekend. When I told her that was a no-go after all the years of barely any contact, she got all defensive. She said they always wanted a relationship but thought I was keeping them away. Truth be told, they really didn't try much until lately. I gotta wonder if Cole moving back in with them has anything to do with their sudden interest. Maeve asked last week if he could take Sage fishing, with Cleo, next weekend. Something so simple, but it made my throat get all tight, watching Sage get so pumped about learning to fish like real boys do. After Felix spilled the tea yesterday, I actually checked Cole's Instagram for the first time in years. His super perfect feed of fancy vacations and rooftop shindigs? Gone. Replaced with blurry inspirational quotes about new beginnings and finding yourself. Not a peep about his son turning 5, just a few miles down the road. I closed the app and felt this weird sense of calm. 5 years ago, I was a mess. Broken, scared, and all by myself. Today, I've got a career I'm proud of, my own home, an amazing kid who blows my mind every day, and a partner who picks us, every single day. Not because he has to, but because he wants to. So, yeah. That's where I'm at, 5 years later. Not where I thought I'd be, but exactly where I'm supposed to be. And Cole, his own choices landed him right where they were always going to. I can't even get mad at him anymore, truly. That whole part of my life feels like it happened in another universe, one I left way back. Third update. Last Saturday started pretty normal. Pancakes for breakfast. Then a mad dash to Sage's soccer game. Maeve and I were squished together under an umbrella, watching the Blue Lightning team play, when Maeve gave me a little poke. Hey, isn't that someone you know? Across the field, there he was, Cole. After being totally gone for years, my ex was just standing there, watching our son play soccer. No heads up, no text, nothing at all. When the game stopped for halftime, Sage zipped over for some water. He was stoked about how well he played defense. That's when I saw Cole walking towards us. Sage saw him too and asked, "Who's that stranger?" Before I could even open my mouth, Cole was right there. He awkwardly said how much Sage had grown. I sent Sage back to his team and went straight for Cole. He admitted his mom told him about the soccer game. Figures. Hazel. Suddenly, his parents contacting me more made total sense. Maeve introduced himself. I saw Cole wince a bit when Maeve said he was Sage's father. I quickly fixed it, biologically, only, I said. After a few tight words, Cole asked if we could chat after the game. I said yes, but not happily. 20 minutes at the coffee shop down the street. Maeve took Sage and Cleo for winning ice cream while I met Cole. He got me a cappuccino, but I hadn't had one of those in years. I drink lattes now. That small thing just showed how much time had passed, you know? Cole's story spilled out slowly. A year in therapy, 8 months clean, back living with his folks after things ended with Poppy. The biggest shocker was when he said he'd actually told his parents to not bother me about Sage. He said he couldn't deal with the guilt of leaving his son. Now he wanted to fix everything and get to know his boy. I told him straight up, Sage wasn't the baby he bailed on anymore. He was a kid with feelings, and a whole life Cole knew nothing about. He agreed he couldn't just waltz in and be dad. Then he asked about Maeve and me. He looked kinda hurt when I told him Maeve had been more of a dad to Sage than he ever was. I said I'd think about a meeting, but it would be watched. Strict rules. I'd be there, it would be short. And if he pulled a disappearing act again, that was it for good. No second chances. 3 days went by. After talking with Maeve and our family therapist, I set up a meeting at a park. Telling Sage was tougher than I thought. His questions just broke my heart. Why his dad wanted to see him now, if Maeve would come along, and if his real dad would even like him. He decided to wear his soccer jersey. He said, so he knows I'm good at soccer. The meeting wasn't awful. Cole brought a Lego soccer field, and they built it together. I watched from a little distance. I saw some family resemblances I'd forgotten about, the same focused look. The same crinkly eyes when they grin. Over the next couple of weeks, we had a few more supervised meetings, all pretty much the same. Then Cole called. He wanted to take Sage to a movie, just the two of them. I said no right away. 3 weeks of showing up versus 7 years of nothing? No way. He seemed okay with that. Then he suggested we all three go instead. Before I could even answer him, he showed up at our house. His parents were with him, and nobody called ahead. Declan and Hazel started talking big about moving forward as a family. Cole, meanwhile, just muttered that he told them not to do this. I told them to leave. But Cole asked to talk to me by myself. That's when he just said it, I still love you, Pearl. I never stopped. I was stunned. Talk about guts. He said, even with Maeve and me, we should think about getting back together. He called us Sage's real parents, saying our son deserved that chance. I told him to go. I said I needed time to think. When Maeve came down, I told him what Cole had said. Maeve was clearly worried about Cole being Sage's birth dad. But I told him I was right where I wanted to be. With him. Later that night, Cole texted me. He said he meant what he said about wanting another shot at our family. I looked at those words. I felt a weird mix of mad and sad for him. The guy who left me high and dry when I needed him most? No way I could ever trust him again. Tomorrow, I'm calling Cole. I'm going to set some clear lines for him about Sage. He's Sage's birth dad, nothing more. Not my man. Some bridges. Once they're burned, they just stay ashes. After everything I've been through, and hearing Cole's words yesterday, I've really had a moment to think. The biggest lesson I've learned, the one that truly changed my life, is this. You can't force someone to be the person you need them to be, and it's okay to build your own happiness when others let you down. I spent so long hoping Cole would step up, wishing he'd become the dad and partner I thought he was. But true love and commitment, especially in a family, means choosing to show up every single day. It means being there for the hard stuff, not just the easy times. It means owning your choices, even when they're messy. When someone walks away, you have a choice: stay stuck in the past, or bravely step into a future where you prioritize your own well-being and the well-being of your child. Building my life with Sage, and now with Maeve and Cleo, has shown me that family isn't just about biology. It's about who shows up, who loves you, and who builds a life with you, day in and day out. I also learned that it's crucial to set boundaries, even with family, to protect your peace and your children. Sometimes, walking away from toxic patterns or people, no matter how hard, is the most loving thing you can do for yourself and your kids. So, that's my take on it. I've shared a huge part of my journey with you. I'm really curious to know what you all think. What lessons did you take from my story? What would you do in my shoes? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below.